A faint, broken smile crossed her lips. You should, because once you promised me a future. The man's chest tightened. What are you talking about? He said, forcing a chuckle. You must be mistaken. She looked up, eyes glistening. Do I look mistaken? She asked softly. Or do I just look forgotten? The words pierced through him. A cold realization began to creep in, though he still couldn't place her. She sighed, pushing the burger back toward him. You see, I didn't come here for food, she said. I came for truth. Her tone shifted, not angry, not desperate, but hauntingly calm. You once came to my father's small shop. You told him you believed in second chances. You said you would invest, help his business grow. But when things went wrong, when one paper went missing, you let the blame fall on him. You said he cheated you. The man blinked, stunned. Wait, your father? Yes, she said, her voice trembling now. My father, the man who lost everything because of you. He leaned back in his chair, as if the wind had been knocked out of him. A dozen old memories flashed. Signatures, meetings, a deal gone wrong, a frightened old man begging him to believe him. He remembered walking away that day, angry and proud, never looking back. That was years ago, he murmured, almost to himself. She nodded slowly. Yes, and that's how long it's taken for me to stand in front of you again. For the first time, the businessman's confident posture crumbled. His eyes softened, guilt creeping into his voice. I didn't know. I thought... This. You thought he was lying, she interrupted. You thought his silence meant guilt. But he didn't defend himself because he respected you. He admired you. Her voice cracked, and she took a deep breath. After that day, everything changed. He lost his shop, his name, his hope. He died a year later, heartbroken, still praying for your forgiveness. The man closed his eyes. He could almost hear the sound of that old man's voice, the way he had stood in front of his desk, humble, honest, desperate, and he had turned him away. He swallowed hard, his heart pounding. Why are you telling me this now? He asked quietly. She looked at him, her eyes no longer angry, just full of quiet pain. Because I want you to feel what it's like to carry a secret that eats you from the inside. I wanted you to know that one choice can destroy a family. I didn't come here for revenge. I came to remind you what your success cost. A silence stretched between them again. The businessman stared at the city lights flickering in the distance. They suddenly seemed dimmer, smaller. His hands trembled slightly as he spoke. I can't undo the past, he said, but I can make things right. She shook her head slowly. You can't bring him back, she said, but maybe you can bring back the part of you that died with him, the part that cared. Her voice softened as she stood up, brushing the dust off her worn dress. Keep your burger, she said quietly. You've already given me what I came for, the truth. She turned to leave. He stood there, unable to move, watching her fade into the glow of the streetlights. Something inside him broke that night, not out of guilt alone, but because he realized how empty his victories had become. As the night deepened, he sat there alone. The untouched burger grew cold on the table. The echo of her words replayed in his mind like a haunting melody. Give me back those days. Give me back my life. For the first time in years, tears slipped down his face. He whispered to the quiet street, I took more than I ever gave. He didn't sleep that night. Instead, he drove through the city, past the ruins of old shops and forgotten streets, until he reached a small, closed store. Faded paint, broken windows, a rusted sign that read Ahmed and Daughter Textiles. He stood there for a long time, as the first light of dawn painted the world gold. Somewhere deep inside, he made a silent promise, not just to the girl or her father, but to himself. The next morning, a letter arrived at a small shelter for underprivileged kids, the same place where the girl worked part-time. Inside was a note written in neat handwriting. "For every life I destroyed, I will rebuild 10 more. Thank you for showing me what truth feels like again." There was also a check, not for money, but for hope. The shelter expanded within months, becoming a safe space for dozens of forgotten children. And though she never saw him again, she sometimes thought about that evening. The man, the burgers, the secret. She didn't forgive him easily, but she had found peace in knowing her words had reached a heart that had long forgotten how to feel. Because sometimes the real revenge isn't destruction. It's awakening. Months passed since that unforgettable evening. The city moved on, as cities always do, swallowing pain, washing away memories with new lights and louder sounds. But for one man, everything had changed. The businessman, whose name was now whispered in boardrooms and charity circles alike, had disappeared from the glittering world of luxury and fame. He no longer attended parties or signed flashy deals. Instead, he spent his mornings in quiet corners of the city, visiting orphanages, rebuilding small shops, and helping struggling families restart their lives. People called it redemption. He called it silence after a storm. Every act of kindness he performed felt like a brick placed back in a wall he had once torn down. Yet deep down, one question kept echoing in his mind. Where is she now? He had tried to find her. The girl with fire in her eyes and pain in her voice, the one who had faced him without fear. But she had vanished as if she was never real, leaving behind only that one haunting memory. Give me back those days. Give me back my life. One rainy afternoon, as he was reviewing plans for a new school his foundation was building, his assistant entered with a puzzled look. "Sir," she said, "there's a woman outside. She says you know her." He looked up, heart suddenly pounding. "What's her name?" The assistant hesitated. "She didn't give one. She just said, 'He owes me a burger.'" He froze. For a moment, the entire world went silent again. The rain tapping against the glass window, the hum of the office, everything faded. He stood up quickly and walked toward the lobby. And there she was, the same girl, though she looked different now, calmer, stronger. Her clothes were simple, her hair tied neatly, but her eyes still carried that quiet depth he would never forget. He walked toward her slowly. "You came back," he said softly. She smiled faintly. "You kept your promise," she replied. He looked confused. "Promise?" "The promise you didn't say out loud," she explained. "To change, to rebuild." He nodded quietly. "I've tried, but I still don't know if it's enough." She looked around the spacious office, filled with plans. He looked at her, truly looked, and for the first time, he saw not the girl who confronted him, but the woman who had turned his guilt into something good. "You've grown," he said softly. She chuckled. "Pain makes you grow faster." They both stood there for a while in silence. Then he gestured toward the table, where 2 cups of coffee were waiting. "Sit," he said. "This time, no burgers, just truth." She smiled and sat down. As they talked, he learned that she had been running a small foundation for young women, teaching them skills, helping them find work, giving them the chances her father never had. When she had told him her story that night, she hadn't expected him to change, but seeing him now, she realized that sometimes even broken people can rebuild others. When she got up to leave, he said quietly, "Wait." He opened a drawer and took out a small box. Inside was a simple silver locket. "Your father gave me this," he said, "back when we made our deal. I kept it all these years. I didn't even know why." She took the locket, tears filling her eyes. Inside was a small picture, a younger version of her and her father, standing in front of their shop, smiling. "He used to wear this every day," she whispered. "I thought it was lost forever." He nodded slowly. Maybe it was waiting for the right time to be found. The rain outside had stopped. Sunlight spilled through the glass, bathing them both in golden light, the kind that feels like forgiveness. As she turned to leave, she looked back one last time. "You know," she said softly, "that night, when I asked for a burger, I wasn't really hungry. I just wanted to see if you still had something left to give." Once upon a time, in a land full of wonders, there lived a kind little fox named Finley. One day, while wandering through the sparkling forest, Finley discovered a hidden door beneath a glowing tree. With a heart full of curiosity, Finley opened the door and stepped into a world of flying butterflies, singing flowers, and stars that twinkled like diamonds. But something was missing: the magical golden acorn that kept the forest alive. Finley knew that only the purest of hearts could find it, and so the adventure began. What would Finley discover next? The man looked at the burger, then at the boy, and said quietly, "Because once someone taught me that sharing a meal can change a life." He walked away into the soft glow of the streetlights, his figure fading into the golden haze of the night. And somewhere, the echoes of a voice whispered through his mind once more. Not with pain this time, but peace. "Give me back those days. Give me back my life." And he finally had. Because sometimes, the secret isn't in what's spoken. It's in what changes inside us when we truly listen. Moral: no act of kindness can erase the past, but it can rewrite the future. True revenge isn't about hurting others. It's about awakening the humanity that time tried to bury.